today we're going to talk all about sleep and stress and how they affect your weight and your choices and your ability to make the healthiest decisions for yourself. So we'll start with stress. And so obviously stress, there's two aspects of it. There's just the fact that everybody has stress in their life. And then there's the idea that you can get better at mitigating stress, but you can also get better at changing your lifestyle slightly so that you'll have less stress. And so, stress is proven absolutely to increase your desire to eat, especially carbs. So there's a big chain of reaction that happens when you're in fight or flight or stress mode, and it literally zaps your brain of sugar. It takes so much energy to be under stress constantly. So your brain needs more sugar to process, and so your brain tells your body to crave carbs because carbs are the quickest source of sugar. Candy, chips, bread, pop, whatever. It's not a coincidence that when we're really stressed, we don't want to eat broccoli. We want to eat a quick source of carbs because that's what's going to give our brains the energy that we need to overcome this constant stress. And so, unfortunately, it's a vicious cycle because there's so much more behind it too. We'll talk about a little bit about carbs and the way our food chain has been changed a little bit tomorrow, and how there are actually some foods that are literally addictive that our brains, we actually feel like we have to have more. But stress, unfortunately, it is generally not avoidable. But what we can do is we can get better at dealing with stress. And my number one antidote to stress is starting my day with some peace. And the way I do that is I sit in silence or I go for a walk by myself. And you could call this meditation, you can call it whatever you want, but I do something that sets my spirit for the day into a more relaxed, less chaotic spirit. So I meditate, breathe, focus on just inwards instead of focusing on every demand that's out there. And so that's one really great thing. Taking deep breaths throughout the day. That's another really easy way to mitigate stress. And then, setting up your life. So maybe there are less stressors. Maybe you just cross a few things off your to-do list that you don't really need to do. Maybe you ask for help. Maybe you delegate a few things. Maybe you hire someone to do something that's really weighing on you. So, that's a whole nother program I could talk about. That's a whole nother, can of worms. But, starting to think about how you can mitigate the stress. Because if you're always under chronic stress, it's going to be really hard to get to a happy, healthy weight. And so as a fitness trainer, I've seen clients, that they're eating well, they're exercising, and they're just like, why am I not dropping the weight? And a lot of the time, the missing ingredient is stress reduction and getting better at dealing with stress. And then the weight starts to come. Because when your body's under stress, you're literally going to hold more belly fat. That's actually proven. And you're going to crave more carbs. And it's not about willpower. That's what I want to tell you. You're not lazy. You're not fat. It's not your fault. It's literally, there's no amount of willpower in the world that could overcome the bodily reactions to stress that make you need carbs, that make you crave carbs. So don't beat yourself up. Just make some small changes. And so meditation is my number one recommendation. In fact, your homework for today is to try one of the 3 meditations that I've listed, and don't try to do it, just do it. It's 5 minutes. I heard a quote by Oprah recently, and she said, if you don't have 20 minutes for yourself in a day, you don't have a life. And that kind of hit me. Ooh, that's hard. That's hardcore, Oprah. But really, if you don't have 5 minutes for yourself to sit and meditate in silence somewhere in your day, there's a big problem. And it's not because you can't, it's because you're not prioritizing yourself. So don't say that you're gonna try, just do it. Just make the time for yourself. You deserve that. So that's gonna be part of your homework. And so now I want to talk a little bit about sleep. Now, sleep is very similar to stress in the way it affects our body. In the cortisol levels are up, our hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are out of control when we're low on sleep. And so again, we're hungrier, we're insatiable when we're exhausted. There's no amount of food that will satisfy us. So again, it's not willpower. There's no amount of willpower that can overcome that. And so I always am like, when people are dieting chronically, but they're not willing to consider changing their sleep habits and maybe getting a bit more sleep and getting more quality sleep, it just seems so absurd to me, because sleep is a huge one. If it's not stress, and it's not the food, and it's not lack of movement, then sleep is the next place I like to look in terms of the lifestyle. So I want to talk quickly about sleep hygiene. Keep your bedroom for relaxing activities. Don't work in bed. Don't, bring the stressful stuff into the bedroom. Some people say not to even have a TV in your bedroom, but I do. But a couple of quick tips, because I could go on all day about sleep as well. But if you're going to be on your devices, this is huge. If you're going to be on your device within an hour of when you want to fall asleep, there's a really awesome app you can get called f.lux, and you actually just program it. It's really simple, but it actually turns the light from your device from a blue light, and blue light really stimulates you, makes you wired up, but it also prevents your melatonin from rising, and melatonin is what helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. So it turns your blue hue on your device to a more orangey hue. And it's amazing, but it really, really helps so that you can actually fall asleep easier, because your melatonin will get a chance to rise and make you sleepy and make you ready for bed. A few other tips: blackout blinds, great investment. If you can't do that, an eye mask, because the less light that's hitting you, even your skin is sensitive to the light, but the less light that hits you, the better, because you'll get into a deeper sleep. Turning your phone into airplane mode at night so that you're not getting as much transmission energy around your body. If you can, use an alarm clock, but cover the light up. I could go on for days about sleep hygiene, but just wind down as well. Do a meditation before bed, do some reading, do something relaxing. Again, I'm a TV lover, so we do watch usually a show before bed, but ideally, you wouldn't have electronics within an hour of sleeping. So sleep hygiene's huge, and the amount of time you sleep. Average recommendation 7 to 9 hours, and that really depends on you. That depends on your activity level in the day, depends on how much self-care you do in the day. There's so many factors there, but really at least 7 hours, and I know there's a ton of people not even getting close to that. Technically, you can catch up from sleep debt, so you could on the weekend sleep extra hours. But the best thing for your energy and for your weight is to go to bed and get up at a similar time each day, so that your body's not trying to adjust all the time. So stress and sleep are huge. So homework, try one of the 3 meditations and see how it goes for you. And then I just want you to share a time you can think of when either a lack of sleep, exhaustion, or stress led you to eat in a way that wasn't helpful to your goals. And so, this is for me, every single time I let my life get out of control, eating becomes the thing I do. And I overeat and I overindulge in sweets. So if I'm really tired or I'm really stressed and I let that go unchecked for more than a day or two, overeating is just it's an inevitability. So this is a big topic because it's so powerful. And I know this is I went pretty broad with it, but I just want to encourage you, think about the way you could mitigate a little bit of stress in your life. You could maybe decrease some of the load on yourself. Maybe you're putting the load on yourself. I'm an overachiever. I like to say I'm a recovering overachiever, but now I put less on my to-do list in a day, and that's exponentially decreased my stress because I'm more realistic with myself, and I build in self-care time, and I build in downtime and all that kind of stuff so that I don't get to the end of the day feeling stressed and anxious and going to bed feeling awful and like I didn't do enough. So be a little gentler on yourself, get more sleep, meditate, breathe, do self-care. This will all pay off in such a big way in terms of your weight, but also just health and vitality and happiness in general. So have an awesome day, have a relaxing day, breathe. Breathing is the easiest way to really de-stress in a quick, beautiful way.